There's something I've been circling around this whole entire season, and I want to name it directly for you because most podcasters think the problem is effort. They think I need to show up more, be more consistent, push harder, promote more, or try harder. Effort feels responsible, but effort is rarely the real issue. Because the podcasters I work with, they're not lazy, they're not flaky, they're not unserious. They're putting in effort, they're publishing, they're recording, they're doing all of the things that they should be doing and still feeling stuck. So if effort isn't the issue, what is? Most podcasters don't grow because they don't have a strategy. No more. Welcome to the show, Podcast to Grow, where I help coaches and entrepreneurs turn their podcast into their most powerful business tool. I'm Elena, and I'm breaking down exactly how to get more listeners, more impact, and more sales. Let's get into it. This season, we've talked about time doesn't create clarity, money doesn't decide direction, movement doesn't create momentum. Notice that pattern. All of those are forms of effort. Waiting longer, doing more, investing more, trying harder. None of them fix misalignment because effort multiplies whatever is already there. If direction is unclear, effort amplifies confusion. If positioning is soft, effort amplifies inconsistency. If the role of the podcast is undefined, effort just creates more content around something undefined. That's exhausting. Here's what I see over and over again when a podcaster starts feeling like the episodes aren't landing or something's not clicking about the show. They usually add more effort. More episodes, rewrite intros, rewrite episodes, rework descriptions, hire for execution, study analytics, experiment with the format once again, post more clips, or try to optimize everything. And temporarily, that feels productive. But underneath it all, there's still that quiet question. What is this actually building? Effort never answers that question. Decision does. This is the shift most people avoid because decision feels risky. Effort feels safe. You can always do more. You can always adjust. You can always redefine. But deciding means choosing a role, choosing a lane, choosing what the podcast is responsible for and what it's not. And once that decision is named, you can't hide behind busyness anymore. Effort is easier than making that decision because effort doesn't require commitment. A decision does. Because a commitment is uncomfortable when you don't have proof that it's working yet. So instead of making that decision, a lot of podcasters stay in that effort lane. They tell themselves things like, I'm building, I'm growing, I'm experimenting. I mean, I hear all the time, I love my show and it means so much to me. But they can't tell me what it's doing for their business because nothing is compounding. It's not building anything, it's circulating. Let me say this gently and clearly. You don't have an effort problem. If you're listening to this, you most likely have a direction problem. Not because you're incapable, not because you're confused, but because no one taught you this, that your podcast is actually a business decision first. And decisions reduce effort. When the decision is clear, effort feels lighter. You don't keep second guessing every episode. You don't reinvent your angle in each episode. You don't change your CTA every quarter. And you don't panic when there's an engagement dip, because you know the show has a job and your job is to reinforce it. And that is very different from trying to make it work. This is also why some podcasts look disciplined but still feel disconnected. From the outside, it looks consistent. From the inside, it feels heavy and like they're just burning through energy. And that heaviness comes from assigning effort the role. And that's expensive, not in money, but in energy. So here's a question I'd rather you sit with. If effort isn't the issue, what decision have you been postponing? What role have you been avoiding naming? Where are you still half committed? Because effort can't stabilize something that hasn't been defined yet. So if effort isn't the issue and doing more isn't the solution, then the real question becomes, what decision haven't I made yet about the role that my podcast plays? Because until the role is clear, effort will be running the show. And next week, I want to help you name that directly. We're going to look at the real question most podcasters avoid. What role is your podcast actually playing in your business? Not what do you hope it's doing, not what do you wish it did, but what it's actually structurally optimized for. And once you see that, a lot of things start to make more sense. I'll see you there. If today's episode has you questioning whether your podcast has a direction or not, I have something for you. If your podcast has been active for 6 to 12 months, but it isn't influencing authority, revenue, or bringing qualified leads your way, that isn't effort, it's structure. Most business owners try to fix this with better content, stronger call to actions, or more visibility. But without defining the podcast's primary responsibility inside the business, effort multiplies without compounding. This diagnosis will help you identify whether authority is plateauing, whether revenue is disconnected, whether positioning is undefined, because you can chase tactics, but it will never clarify the role of your podcast for you. You'll find the link to this guide in the episode description.